says I'm live, so
There we go.
anybody out there in Twitch land can hear me, give me a hell yeah. If we can't hear me, I might have to adjust my mic settings. But
I'm gonna just realize I don't have an image. I'm gonna put an image on.
uh,
Do, do, do,
first
do.
and foremost, I want to say thank you for joining me this evening.
Happy to.
Amongst
Happy to.
amongst all the thank you on Undead Witch. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks, Assassin. At least you guys can hear me. I know you guys, you might have something more important to do, so I'm glad you stopped by for a moment, or for a little while, anyways.
No problem. I have a
Um,
little bit of congestion, so if I sound congested in my head. I don't know what I sound like to everybody else, but
yeah, I can definitely tell a little bit, definitely.
yeah.
Um, so again, thanks for joining me. You see the character on your end. You see that's my mascot character. I got it yesterday finally. It's
Nice.
the embodiment of me, though the artist who drew it decided to make me look like a Pokemon trainer. So
It's super cute.
there's that. Hey, it came out pretty good for free.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't have to pay for it. If I could have changed anything, I would have had the hat a little darker red. But I'm not going to complain. I like it. It's free. Um, so I got some questions here. Um,
First of all, hi everybody on the stream. Hello. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys can hear me, right? Oh, are you still there,
I'm here.
Joe? Oh,
I'm
okay,
here.
just checking.
I was just waiting to see if they were going to answer. Oh, yep. Okay, looks like you can be heard.
Woohoo!
So I got some questions here. I also have a couple on PMs as well. The hashtag thing unfortunately didn't work. Um, nobody used it. That kind of sucked.
That happens.
Uh, whenever it's not freezing. Yeah, it could be my internet. My internet's not the greatest. I have Comcast, and I live in the woods, so that doesn't help.
No.
So I got some questions here. I think there's like 16 of them in total. I didn't put them all on this WordPad, but like almost half of them are Neptunia related, sort of, kind of.
Okay.
I was hoping to get a little more variety, but I guess when you voice everyone's favorite Sundari, I guess that's what happens. No, I didn't get any Chie questions. I was a little disappointed about that.
That's okay.
So whenever you're ready to start, we can start, and I'll start banging out the questions to you.
Go for it.
So the first question is by Peter J. Reardon, and he asks, how do you voice like do a Sundari character so well, like the personality?
Well, you don't go for personality when you're acting. You kind of go for character. So they gave me it was Tony Oliver who directed the very, very first game. So I went by his direction, and he is so good at giving character description I remember that very, very first game. They gave me so much freedom to have fun with her, and she was so funny to me. Her character cracked me up, and they just let me go for broke. And I remember it was a really easy character to become. So it's almost, I don't think of characters as tsundere, even though that everybody else categorizes them that way. For me, she was just a really confident character, confident in what she does, confident in how much work she puts in on the daily. But she really, she's it's like a paradox, right? She can take a compliment if it's work related. That's about it. Outside of that, compliments are just doesn't compute for her, you know. Someone being interested or nice to her doesn't compute for her based on her incredible drive to be perfect and the best. So it was I guess that for me that's how that aspect of the character developed very naturally. I don't think about playing tsundere when I play those types of characters. I never think of that first. I feel like if I do that, I'm cheating out on the complex beingness of the character.
I see. Well, I could tell you for sure why exactly people categorize characters under the dairy type. Um, in Japanese lifestyle, at least, the dairy personalities do actually exist. Um, that I know of. There's at least four of them, four different dairy personalities.
Right.
So that's why like a lot of the characters get put into each dairy category depending on their personality. Um, so that's what happens with that.
Well, and that makes sense. It's the same as, you know, you break down an American television show and they they use very categories to describe each character, but that's not all who a character is. And if an actor approached it, like say the somebody approached the mother character just as a mother as opposed to making her a three-dimensional being, then she won't be as interesting.
Um,
Three-dimensional, four-dimensional being. That was funny. I made
uh,
her 3D characters.
so as I ask these questions, I'm going to take them off of this word pad so I don't get myself mixed up.
Yeah, good luck with that.
This,
It's a good idea.
the next question, excuse me, comes from Derek Hagna, and it's like a two-part question. Um, First, he asked, "What did you think of the noir character at first?" Which you pretty much just answered that question as well.
Yeah, I loved her. Yeah.
And then he says she's definitely a likable character according to the fans. And he asks, "Did you think she was a likable character when you first learned of
Let
her?"
me. I'll answer that question this way. If I met her outside in real life, I would adore her. She is. I totally love that type of um, personality and character. I really like people who try to go for their best, and she just to me is. She's very funny. Like when I hear back what I've done, I'm like, oh my gosh, she makes me laugh. And I know I'm the person playing her, but I don't think of it when I'm doing the performance. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to be her. And then when I hear it back, I'm like, oh my gosh, the character is funny. And that's a big, that's a huge compliment to the writers and everybody who helps localize all of these amazing Japanese characters to for us.
I see. Uh, so the next question is, I haven't gotten to the bit of variety yet, where the variety starts to come in with these questions yet. But I think this one is interesting. Uh, Before I continue, let me first say if I butcher any of your names, I apologize.
No problem.
I don't mean to call people out wrong, especially if they're not using their real name, because that does happen. But the next question from Marcus Kemp, he asked, "Well, what is it like having to adjust your voice between voicing Noir and then the Blackheart character after she transforms when you have to continue talking?"
Well, again, I find that a big misconception about what I do is that it's about focusing on the voice. And for me, I don't focus on the voice. I happen to have a very good instrument. The vocal cords I was given from birth have a very large range. So that gives me an instrument that I can play kind of like a saxophone. I have a lot of high notes. I have a lot of low notes. So I have a great instrument, but I don't focus on the notes. I focus on the music, which is the character. So when it came to Tony Oliver, who directed the very first game, when we came to describing Blackheart, it was such an easy adjustment in who she was and how she comes out from noir, like almost like the superhero. Well, she is the superhero goddess version of noir. It really wasn't that complicated for me. And I don't think about the vocal adjustment. That just happens naturally because that's just what my instrument is able to do. But yeah, I mean, I guess it would be wild for you guys to hear. But for me, it's just part of playing my instrument.
Right. Yeah, because I could definitely tell. Well, you know from obviously the experience, but there are definitely two different tones of voice between the normal character and the powered up character. So
Yes. Yeah.
when I mean, even I don't know if it's the PlayStation Vita, but you could actually notice that the Blackheart character actually has two different tones of voice. I know Nisa published Neptunia Victory,
Yeah.
and then Idea Factory took it over after that, and they published other games since then. But when Noir powers up into Blackheart, her the voice actually sounds deeper than it did in the other games.
And
Um,
every time there's been like an alternate universe and the characters adjust slightly, they were very specific about me adjusting for each character,
so they wanted
each versions of those characters from different realities. So the sound might be similar, but not exactly the same.
right,
But
yeah,
again, I don't focus on the sound. I'm focusing on the changes in the characters.
right, right. I mean, not I wasn't trying to cut you off, but I was just saying I noticed there is that slight tone difference.
Yes, yes, that's and they asked for that. Yes.
Um, so the next question is Charlie from Charlie Evan. He basically, how could I word this question? Basically, he asks, I guess I'm going to reword it to sound better for him. Basically, he asks, basically, is being a voice artist hard? Like, do you think sometimes it could be a challenge, pretty much?
Well, it's like any job, it has its very challenging areas. I mean, you can love your job, you know, tremendously, but when you're doing it hours and hours at a time, you have human limitations that generally get in the way. And for me, it's things like, for example, right now I have this sinus infection, which is killing me, and it makes my job so much harder. The job itself can get really challenging if I've got a bad director, and by bad director, I mean someone who isn't giving me any direction and not filling me in on story. If I have a script that's really bad and we have to rewrite it as we go because the localization team was a terrible, they just didn't localize it really at all, and then me and a director have to come up with new lines. That's the worst. Because we're not getting paid for that, and we still have the same amount of hours. I still have to record everything in a very short period of time, plus we're writing on top of it. It's very stressful. So the job can be really challenging, of course, like any job when problems show up, and problems show up in the world of voice acting as well as any other place. So it can be, but it can be incredibly rewarding too when a team is working together and everybody's cooperating and everybody likes themselves. It would be the same as, I mean, I remember my first job when I was a kid was working at Dairy Queen, and I loved that job because I was working with friends and we had such a team feel. And so it has a lot to do with the people you work with and how fluid everything is and how well prepared everything is and how professional everybody's being, for sure.
Now, to play off of part of your answer, when you mentioned that when you're working the same amount of hours and you guys are writing on top of that, has there been times where you have recorded lines and then they end up getting thrown away and now you have to record new lines over those?
No, usually it's because of a client's budget in the first place if we're rewriting anything because they didn't pay for proper localization. So they don't have the time or the money to come back and revisit something. So the product that goes out is not, as far as I'm concerned, my best work. It's usually just horrifically rushed, and there's a lot of cussing and temper tantrums that go on in the room of like, I can't believe, how could they not translate, what is going on, who's amazing, that kind of a situation. But um, it doesn't happen often, but when it happens, boy, oh boy, is that ever a challenging situation.
I mean, I know for my own experiences, I can't stand doing something and then it ends up being like thrown away, and I just don't like wasting my time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it
And
actually happened.
unfortunately for me, after doing something like that, thousands of people see the final product and they have no idea what went on behind the scenes and the reason why that product isn't, as far as I'm concerned, up to quality. But, I don't get to go and talk about it. It just is what it is.
Right. I mean, because that actually happened to me the other night. I was recording a video to upload to my YouTube channel, and I went to go edit it, and the recording file ended up corrupting. I guess it didn't save properly, and I was so mad because it was a two-part recording that I did, and the second part worked fine, and the first part was dead. So I had to go back and redo the first part over again, and I put it off to the next day because I was just so angry at myself.
I totally understand. I think a lot of people probably understand. A lot of people, like, I think that's a human experience, isn't it?
Yeah, and plus when I do my own voiceover commentary over my gameplay videos, then I gotta scrap both ends of the recording because then I can't use the audio on a new recording because it might not match up to what the new recording might not match up to what I said during the
Right.
old recording. So I just got super annoyed with that. But and anyway, getting back to these questions, not to go off on a tangent. The second half of Charlie's question was, how do you fully commit to Noir's Sundari personality? Which basically you've answered that twice already. So
By committing to who she is. Yeah.
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 Um, the next question. Um, I might have deleted his name. I hope I didn't delete his name. Okay. For some reason, the person's name didn't come out. For some reason, it says when you did Ion in Tales of the Abyss, how did you keep your voice calm, like to do the boy's voice?
Wow. Okay, so when I did the voice of Ion, how did I do what?
Like he asked, how did you keep your voice calm and steady to do a boy's voice instead of a
Oh
girl's voice?
yeah, again, it has nothing to do with voice.
It
It
just
has
seems like these questions are just running into the same answer.
but that lets me know that there's such a misconception about voice acting. I
Right.
think that the label voice acting is uh, it's misleading because the reason the term voice acting came up was just to separate actors who work for cartoons and video games as opposed to actors who work on camera. So there's on camera actors and voice actors. But we don't actually use our voice to act. We use our acting training, our entire body. Everything has to do with all of the acting, years and years and years of acting. So when I play Ion, it's just like when I play any other character. I imagine I am that character. I'm in that character's body. And Ion was a master, man. Like, that was really easy. I went back to, my favorite, Kung Fu masters and Star Wars Jedi masters. And so it just was so happened that he had this, he was in this body, but he had the wisdom of, the ancients. So that's what I played. And so the sound sounded very even and steady. Yeah.
All right. Getting back to these questions. The next question. Let me erase this one real quick. The next question comes from Fernando Lopez. Again, with the last question, I'm sorry, I don't remember who your name is. Who asked it? For some reason, your name didn't come out when I pasted the questions to this document. But the next question comes from Fernando Lopez. He asks, for the Neptunia series, if you didn't get the role for Noir, which character would you have liked to voice instead?
Ooh. Ooh. I think the opposite of Noir would be fun. It might have been fun to voice Vert. That was completely opposite, but um, I love Tara. I just love her Vert. So I don't know. Yeah, that I mean, go opposites, right?
I'm
Noir's a little bit more uptight.
I'm curious how if it came to it, if you would have voiced Neptune instead, how that would have came out.
Oh, I
Like,
couldn't even. Melissa, oh, she kills it. It's so good. I can't even imagine. I'm really happy with who the cast is and how the cast is. I really think that it was a really good job. Tony Oliver did a brilliant job in that casting.
oh yeah, I mean, I always considered the
Hey,
cast.
Danielle.
I always considered the cast to be all star in my book. I mean, you
Oh,
have
cheers. Cheers for that.
there's you obviously, Melissa, Tara, Stephanie Shea's in it, Sarah Williams. At one point, Michelle Ruff was part of the series. There's a few others whose names I forget. I know Patrick Seiss voiced one of the villains at one point. So I pretty much considered the voice cast of all star quality. A lot of voice actors that I've been really familiar with over the years. So I really liked how the translation in the English came out. And of course, forgetting Wendy Lee as the other main character, Blonde, another one who I've been familiar with for a while. So I really liked the voice cast that they picked for the series, and I'm glad they kept it for the most part for the anime adaptation as well.
Yeah, I was very grateful about that as well because they didn't do that for Danganronpa, which I'm terribly disappointed about for that. But I was so excited that they kept us for the anime.
So the next question comes from Gregory Rodriguez. This question is basically something you probably have been asked 1,000
No harm in answering it again.
times. Basically, he asks what I guess I should say who your favorite role is. Like out
Oh,
of
that's
everything you've
like
ever
picking a
done,
favorite child. I
pretty
feel like
much. Yeah.
if I pick one character, the other characters will revolt somewhere inside me, and there will be a mutiny. Um, I could do the classic Richard Epcar answer, which is whatever my next role will be, um, which I think is that's a cheap way out. Oh gosh, I was really in love with playing Urel in World of Warcraft. She was because she I got to play her for quite some time, and there was some character development. So when I get to play a character over years, like I did for Noir and Chie, I develop a really strong bond with that character because I'm getting to play that character in storyline after storyline. So I get closer with those characters than I do with a character like Quark in Zero Escape because I only did him for that one session, and even though he was a great character, I'm not going to get I'm not going to get to go back and continue that character. So I think that makes sense, right? Like the characters I spend the most time with are the characters I fall in love with the most.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And like Noir and Chie, over the years you've spent a lot of time with them.
Yes, I have.
Um, that Naz with Ed Nettie and May.
Yeah,
That cartoon
Maymaker,
ran for a while.
all my Monster High girls. Yeah, Ever After High. Yeah, uh-huh.
So the next question is from Michael Johnson. Um, Hello, everybody who joined recently, by the way.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and supporting Extra Life Kit for kids.
So the next question comes from Michael Johnson. He basically asks, how did you discover and actually get the role of Noir?
Um, I don't remember auditioning for Hyperdimension. I feel like Tony Oliver just brought me in. Tony Oliver is one of those phenomenal directors. He's an amazing actor too, by the way. Let me just put that. He's like a brilliant actor and when I say actor, I mean when I refer to someone as an actor, it means that they perform more than just voiceover. They perform on stage or on screen, that they're just an actor all around. And Tony is one of those classically trained actors, and he and I bond on that level, and he just knows what I'm able to do through and through. He knows my range as a good director. He has the ability to really capture who I am. So when he gifts me roles, and that's what he usually brings me in, and is like Erin Fitzgerald for this little sucker here. Um, he did that with Noir and Blackheart. He also did it, although I did audition for it first, but he also brought me in after auditioning for Danganronpa to share Junko with Amanda Miller and being a Genocide Jack as well. And that was Tony Oliver's doing as well. So, yeah, I'm very grateful to him because I feel like the characters he picks for me are perfect for my wheelhouse, what I'm able to bring as an actor. And he really understands where I excel more than other, some other people I work with that, they fit me into what they need. But Tony seems to also, maybe it's the actor side of him that he knows what's going to satisfy us as actors. He's so good.
So now to play off of your answer, I don't know, if there's, I don't exactly know how you guys go about casting for sequels, to like reprise a role. Do you guys like ever have to audition again at any point, or if you're a fan favorite by the fans, or if because
Oh
you've
yeah, we're
already done the
auditioning all
role?
the time. All the time. It
So
doesn't matter how popular you get, you audition all the time unless a director specifically can bring you in. And that'll depend on if the client will let the director do the casting. A lot of the times the client won't let the director just go ahead and cast, which is unfortunate because most of the directors in town know the actors better than any client would, and someone could submit a brilliant audition but be terrible in the booth. And when I mean terrible, I mean they take up too much time, they end up costing way more money, they don't have the acting chops yet, and when somebody else could have been brought in and saved them time and money and also killed the performance. So the people who work with the actors day to day know who are the strong actors and who are the weak actors, but the clients don't know. So they go off of sound in an audition, and the auditions don't always give you a good example of who's reading for you. So it's nice to build relationships through working with people who know what you're able to do for sure.
so basically, so say like you voice the character say three times the same character for say three games in that series, and should the say the fourth one comes out and they need casting for those characters, there's a chance you
I
might not
don't
come
have to
back.
re-audition for the characters that I've played. At least I haven't yet. Perhaps that happens somewhere. Um, like for example, in Funimation in Texas, they have the original cast list. They know who originally played the characters. It's up to them as to whether they want to bring the actors in or not. They have the power of decision there. Or if they want to completely recast, which they do all the time. But like, let's say for a video game that I played a lead character in, I may go in and read for the second game, but for different characters, just to show them more of a range. And in the second game, I'll still play the character I played in the first game, but they may also throw me some other characters that they weren't thinking about me for because I auditioned for them.
I see. And I mean, one game I think that could have maybe deserved a second game, maybe not so much a sequel, maybe a new story, would be Eternal Sonata. I think that game is just absolutely
Oh,
brilliant.
God, that was a great game.
I think that game
That
is
was such a
absolutely
creative,
brilliant.
unique game. I was really excited about that. Yeah. Yeah, that was a great game. Really great character, too.
So the next question, I should say questions. One of my friends sent me three questions for you. The first one I wanted to talk about after, before we close the session out, because I could actually plug you at that time. So I'm going to skip that one. Um, Now it says the second question he asks. He says, "Do you believe voice artists deserve more money for what they for their work, and why?" Basically, he's referring to the whole voice actor strike with the video. Some of
That
the
had nothing to do with money. and I don't have to explain why someone should be paid for their work.
Right.
That's for sure.
Yeah, you definitely should be paid.
Yeah, that whole strike thing, you need to go to sagaftra.com and read what it really was about. There's more than enough articles out there about the strike. It really wasn't about the money. It never really is about money. It's usually about working conditions.
Right.
And you know, as far as I'm concerned, the worst paid job is is dubbing anime. That's the worst paid, and it's the hardest job, and they require a lot out of you. So if anybody should strike, it should be for that contract. But nobody's in discussions about that right now. But
yeah, and plus anime is pirated a lot more than video games are, so that kind of doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. But it definitely, if you wonder why your favorite like mainstream voice actors don't do more anime, that's why.
Pretty much, yeah. Because if the industry is losing money, then they're not going to have enough money for the people they need.
No, they don't, and they don't. It depends on the house that you work for. There are many different houses that record anime. There are houses that people don't even know about that record anime, that that aren't as popular as Bang Zoom has created their reputation for dubbing. But there are lots and lots of houses in Los Angeles that dub anime. So,
right, yeah, I follow some of them, like Viz Media. I think Aniplex USA is out there. Trying to think, there's a couple more that I know of. But yeah, I'm guessing because I remember one of the posts you shared on your fan page about the strike a couple of months ago. It listed four main points and talked about all of them as to why the strike might happen. And the first two, I guess, basically talked about money. SAG-AFTRA wanted something about they wanted the voice actors to get more money, and then more bonuses for if it sells a certain amount of copies. And then I agree 95% of the way, especially for the transparency with the voice actors should get to learn about the characters they're voicing more and about what the game is more about instead of just going in trying to get the role for this character and then learning as you go. And then
yeah.
I also agree about
I mean, it should be, I think it should be, it's really important for me to stress, like, I don't own my own home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not making ridiculous amounts of money where I own my house. I couldn't afford to have children if I wanted to. I make a living where I am able to pay rent and survive in Los Angeles, but I'm not rich by any means, and I don't know if I count as middle class. So what we do for a living in video games, because there's no residuals and you have no idea when your next booking can be. Right. You might work one job a month and that's supposed to last you the whole month. So that there's a reason why the union created certain standards in terms of hours, certain standards in terms of rates, certain standards in terms of residuals. It's so that actors could survive from job to job, or if they got sick, like I'm sick right now and I have to reschedule a lot of sessions, they can survive and pay for their groceries, their gas, and their rent. So we're literally just like any union anywhere. It's not a bunch of greedy people. It's just people trying to survive
and make a living.
That's it.
Yeah, like I said, I agree. Mostly. Especially with the transparency, and I believe voice actors deserve more information when it comes to trying to get the job. But
do please research it. Do look it up. There's a lot of great articles. Forbes did a great article on it.
Yeah, that's the one I actually was talking about, the one you shared.
Yeah, there's some really great articles. I'm pretty sure they're all on my fan page as well. But going to SAG itself, you should be able to see exactly what it is. We've been very transparent about what it is that we're trying to negotiate. And if there's anything you don't understand, it's probably because you don't do what we do for a living. You're not there on the day-to-day, so you don't know the kind of problems that we're facing on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
So actually, my friend Daniel Johnson actually asked 4 questions. I thought it was 3. If you don't mind answering them all.
Absolutely.
The third question is, what is the hardest part of your job? Like, what do you consider the hardest aspect of your career?
Getting the work is the hardest part of this job. I don't know from week to week if I'm working. I don't know if I'm going to work next week. I don't know if I'm going to work the week after. That is my least favorite aspect of this job, is that you could be completely unemployed before you know it and have absolutely nothing going on and no form of income. That is my least favorite aspect. I don't enjoy auditioning either. I find auditioning can be exhausting, especially if I get like piled and piles and piles and piles of auditions due for the next day. I can't give each character the time I would like to give it. It can get very frustrating, because it's the equivalent of basically keeping your, applying for a job every day of your life for the rest of your life, and knowing that you can be fired anytime.
I would definitely say that's certainly something scary. I mean, I certainly wouldn't exactly like working a job too much where you have to worry about if you're going to work the next day. That's
Yeah, there's definitely been times in my career where I've imagined what it would be like, and I fantasize about it. What would it be like to know you had work and a paycheck coming in? What would that be like? Is there such a thing as security? But I've been doing this so long now, it's definitely not the reality I've chosen.
right.
I do not have a second job. This is what I do for a living.
Hopefully, you'll always continue to get steady amounts of work so that you won't have to rely on a second job.
Yeah, ideally. I mean, I have a little side business that I work with a company called Nerium,
Right.
but I don't do that full time. It's a spare time thing because I just started, because I do believe that residuals in our industry are disappearing completely. And so I was looking for another stream of passive income, or a stream of income that could be residual income. And I really like the commission structure of Nerium, so I've been working with them.
So the last question that Daniel asked, he asked, who is or was the hardest character for you to get into voicing? I guess like who
This
did you have?
character to get into.
Yeah, I guess like I
Wow.
guess he's asking like what was the hardest for
Ooh,
you?
to get into. What an interesting. Who's the hardest one to get into? I don't know. I don't know. That's a hard question, just because from day to day I could play up to 10 characters a day. It's so I'm switching, I'm flipping and flipping and flipping characters all the time. Like in one show for Wild Grinders, I could play up to 10 characters in one episode and then go to another 2 jobs or 3 jobs by the end of the day. That's on a great week. I mean, there are weeks that can be really abundant, and I find that when it rains, it pours, right? So sometimes I go for months and I don't have anything, and sometimes I have weeks where I'm packing it in, and everybody wants the same time slot. But I honestly couldn't single out a character. I think I'm very, for me, I work my instrument enough, the acting instrument, which is my voice and my body, enough where I don't spend a lot of time on. I mean, if it's a character I can't get into, I shouldn't be doing that character. If I
Right.
can't find the character, then I'm the wrong person for the character. So I don't think that happens that often. I can't think of it. I honestly can't think of one.
I see. So before I continue the questions, real quick, I'm reading my network's Skype group, and one of the guys that's I'm sure he's in the chat. He's telling me on Skype that the fans want this on YouTube. So if you wouldn't mind, I was planning on uploading it anyway this session.
Okay?
That's all, since I want to get your discretion because you're in it and whatnot. I don't want to just do it, and if you didn't want me to, I don't want to. I don't want to cross any gray areas with you. I don't ever plan on making you mad ever.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put that out there real quick. Um, so getting back to the questions. Whoops, put that down. Where did that question go? Oh, I closed it out. That was smart. The next question comes from one of our network mates, Brittany Fraticelli, who I believe is also in the chat. Um,
Hello, hello.
she asks, was voicing Noir the first time voicing a tsundere personality type character?
I don't think so. The thing is, I hadn't heard the term tsundere until noir got really popular. So I may have voiced I do a lot of Japanese RPG games and I do some anime. So I don't, again, that's not a character trait description. I work in an American English world, so we don't necessarily go by the Japanese descriptions as often. So I didn't hear that until the fans started tweeting that term to me and had to explain it to me because I didn't know what it was. So I know I voiced many since learning what a tsundere is, and I'm like, oh, now I recognize them as soon as I get one. I'm like, oh, I know what this character is now. But before, I had no idea. So I'm sure I played many different characters that had that quality to them, but I wasn't aware.
Right, I see. So now the next question comes from Assassin X, who is in the chat. My buddy Sean and the guy I'm going to destroy in Smash Bros later. He asks, I think, a pretty good question, honestly. He asks, which roles do you enjoy more, a recurring character or a new character?
My personal preference, I like really funny characters. And I don't mean, I mean characters that when I listen to some of the recording back, it makes me laugh out loud. Like that's a character that wouldn't annoy me. I mean, the character might be annoying because some of my funny characters are annoying, but I'd enjoy that level of annoying for a long period of time. So it doesn't matter to me. I mean, recurring is great, but it doesn't have to be recurring. I really enjoyed playing Ramlethal Valentine, and that's funny because she's not funny at all. She's very, very serious. But I found something hilarious in the level of her straight man reads. I would be cracking up afterwards. I'm like, oh my God, she's such a straight person. It made me laugh, and I really enjoyed that. And she was kind of like a one game character for me.
So it seems Sean also was taking care of recording some of the questions that were sent in on the chat, and he also Skyped the list to me.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. I'm still going to kick his ass later. But anyways, there looks like 10 more of them. I don't know how much longer you plan to keep going.
Bring it.
It looks like 11 now. Yeah, it looks like 11 now. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna keep the train rolling. Again.
Don't forget that this is. You guys can hit the little donate to Extra Light 2015 just below. Make sure you hit that donate and help raise money for children in hospitals who need treatment.
Yes, please. I very much appreciate it. This is my second year doing this. Last I checked, I've raised $47 so far, which is actually more than last year, so at least I'm getting somewhere.
Oh, good for you.
So the next question, and again, now that these are usernames and not real names, I'm probably going to get a lot of them wrong.
Great.
This one comes from Opinion Ted Canuck. It says, at Erin Fitzgerald Parasol, during your recording of Chie for Persona 4 Golden, was there ever a time you felt uncomfortable with the dialogue?
I was never uncomfortable with the dialogue, but when Chie was uncomfortable, I was uncomfortable. I think that that's part of acting. When the character is going through something that makes the character uncomfortable, I'm feeling it by proxy. So there were like some really intimate moments with you that made me super uncomfortable as I was being Chie. For some reason, the ski trip mountain thing, that's what I remember. And I was like, wow, this is so hard for Chie right here, and it was good stuff, you know. When I'm feeling what the character is feeling, then I know that I'm really in the character at that moment.
So the next question comes from Tiamat ZX. A question to Erin: of all of the roles you've done, which would you say was the most fun and or the least fun?
Well, the most fun character I've played so far is a character named Stubford in a show called Wild Grinders that aired on Nicktoons. He was such a little asshole, and I loved playing him. I loved being him, and I would be happy to play another little asshole at any time. He was such a jerk face. Oh my God, he was so much fun. And I really also enjoyed Genocide Jack because she's insane. She's about as close as I'm going to get to playing the Joker. She's my female Joker kind of performance. I really, really loved her. For the least loved performances, chances are I'm not going to remember them because I play so many characters. Anybody I didn't like, they're just going to get deleted from my brain.
The next question comes from Undead Witch, which I believe that's Brittany. She asked the question earlier. She asks, "Are you excited to be reprising Noir in Victory 2, which will release in January 26th of next year, by the way? Um, and do you have an idea of how you voiced Next Black, Noir's second new transformation?"
Um, okay, guys, this is where it gets fuzzy. We record a lot of Neptunia during a year. I don't know because we don't know. I don't know which titles are which. I can't remember from game to game. The only one I remember is Noir because it was just the name of my character outside of the booth, and I was like, "Wow, this game is named after Noir. That's amazing!" But all the other titles, they just be jumbled up in my brain because we record a few of them in a year. So I don't know if we've already recorded that game or not. I don't remember, and there's so many different storylines that I choose not to keep in my brain because it would explode, that I trust the writers to fill me in. Like when I go into a Neptunia session, we take 15 minutes to let me know what we've already recorded and what storylines and where this storyline and all of these realities are going, because it's like a Doctor Who, you know, timeline. It gets all over the place and it's kind of wild and amazing. So I can't really comment too much because also I don't know what hasn't been announced. If we've recorded some, I have no idea. I don't know if I can't keep track. It's too much. It's too much, but wonderfully too much.
I can't blame you, especially with the Neptunia series. Four games in the series have released in 1 year, along with the anime dub adaptation. Quite honestly,
Yes.
I think it's way too much Neptunia for 1 year. I'm
It
not
is for
saying
my brain.
I'm not saying that with any you know to offend anybody, especially any of the fans. But to me personally, I think it's too much. I mean, they release like one game like every 2 months. The last one released in July.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like I was shocked at how often we were getting called
Yeah,
in to report.
it was a lot to handle. I think in 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Uh,
with you.
I
And I can't
personally
even
have put the
imagine how
series down
hard that
for a
is for
while.
the fans and their pocketbooks. You know, like you don't get a period of time to recover and kind of put the money away for the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, I could actually say that buying the Idea Factory International actually double dipped on the fans, which kind of sucks. But in Japan, the Hyper Devotion Noir game, the limited edition version actually came with the exclusive Noir figure, which Idea Factory International sold as a separate piece for an extra $25 on top of the $58
Dang.
price tag that the LE sold for. And
Yeah.
I could tell you in February, it really hurt my wallet to buy that figure but I would be damned if I didn't own the noir figure because once it was gone, it was gone.
I
I
understand.
actually still have her in the box. I never even opened the box. The box is still wrapped and everything.
I was actually gifted the noir figure from a friend, Mark DeCoho, who's really he's been a longtime fan turned friend, and she's still in the box too, and she's in this room looking at me right now.
Yeah, she's I actually have her sitting on top of my computer. So
Nice.
anytime I look off to the right, it's like she's just staring right at me. Uh,
Right.
so the next question comes from Yu Amos. Since Erin is the voice actor of Noir, after all, does she have any tips for me to improve my Noir role playing skills?
Don't suck.
Don't
Just be
suck. There
awesome
you go.
and
Lots
trust
of
how
tips.
amazing she is.
Right off the bat, just don't suck. That was good.
She's
I
worked
loved it.
too hard and come too far for you to make her suck.
Um, the unknown Venom asks, "Have you kept in touch with the partnered voice actors for an extended period of time?" Uh, I
Oh
guess
yeah, I
from
mean we all work together. Those are my coworkers, right?
right.
Even my coworkers from Canada, when I worked on Ed, Ed and Eddie, we keep in touch with each other. I see them when they come down here. I don't get back to Canada very often, but on occasion I do, and then I see them. So yeah, I mean we're it's like any profession. When you're working at it long enough, you all know each other and you see each other at conventions and whatnot. So yeah, of course.
The next question comes from looks like Diplomas Claude. I probably destroyed that name. I'm sorry. Asks, what was your favorite line or scene you voiced as Chie?
Oh, I don't know. That's hard. There was some really great repartee with Yosuke that I always enjoyed anything interacting with Yosuke and insulting him. Like that usually made me really happy because Yuri is one of my closest friends. So, in real life, like he is my Yosuke in real life. So, yeah, that made me really, really thrilled.
Um, the next question comes from. Let me make sure I'm not okay. So, unknown Venom asked another question. What role would you consider a credibility deficit? It doesn't it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad character, but a role that made people look at you from a different point of view.
Huh. I don't know because I don't know what how other people see me. I honestly one of my favorite things is when I go to convention, I set up all of the images that I have on my table, and people walk up and they have no idea I'm a voice actor. They think I'm an artist and that I drew all of these characters. And usually, in the course of them standing there, it's revealed that I'm a voice actor. And then the aha moment happens where they recognize one character and they look at me and they say, "You played her?" And I go, "Uh huh." And then they look at another character, "You played him?" Uh huh. Wait a minute, and you played, they go from character to character, and it's like this giant, like their mind is blown. That's really fun, and that makes me really excited when someone goes from not knowing anything about who I am to finding out they've been a longtime fan since they were a kid, but they just didn't know it. That really is fun. But as far as how people see me, I have no idea how other people see me and my ability as an actor. I know people have been really great with certain characters and they've, fell in love with characters, which is great because I fall in love with those characters too. That's been amazing. But yeah, I have no idea.
I know the feeling. I actually didn't start to care as much about who the actual voice and the person behind the character is until about maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I started doing a YouTube fan project with a friend of mine, um, which the channel got shut down in like 6 months because of copyright, obviously.
Right.
But once I started discovering, that I've been following these people for so long, I just didn't know the names and the actual faces behind the characters. but yet I always knew the voices. And
Right.
even some of your, even some of your roles, though I've pretty much followed and known your career, from the start.
Right.
You and Laura Bailey are pretty much the only people I actively followed the
Oh, I
whole
take that
time.
as a huge compliment. I'm a big fan of Laura Bailey. She's got
I
amazing
love her.
chops.
I love her work.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
So when I even some of your characters, I would have never guessed at the time that you voiced Ion in Tales of the Tape.
Right. Right.
And if you didn't make it known, and if the other fans of yours didn't make it known that you voiced Tipo, I think the first time I played Exilia, I probably wouldn't have realized that either.
Cool.
And
Okay.
it actually took me until I was working on that prototype demo of yours to actually realize and actually able to hear your actual voice within Polka's character in Eternal
Wow.
Sonata. When I first played that game, I wasn't sure if it was you. Like, I wasn't gonna say this is this person because I wasn't too sure.
Right. Right. So, and that's the case. Like for me, I'm not trying to change my voice. I'm not trying to, when people say, oh my God, I hear Chie in Noir. Well, it is me. I am in each one of my characters. It just so happens that it's me being that character. So sometimes the voice is altered naturally to fit that character, and sometimes not so much. And sometimes the different aspects of my personality are going to bleed into each character as well
Right.
based on interpretation. So I think if you know me, like I'm able to tell, I would say 70%, 75% of the time who's playing what character because I know the actors. And if I don't know the actor, there's no way I'd guess that was them. But if I know an actor well enough, I can hear that essence of who they are. That's that aspect. I think I believe that we are all soul, that divine spark of whatever the universe, and I think that that's a unique identity, and our voice is like our fingerprint. I think it's completely unique, and we can sound similar to each other, but those aspects of who we are, that essence of who we are, is so unique that it, even as an actor, it bleeds through in every character we play.
Right. I mean, because ever since you told me to listen more on the different tones and the range of your voice and stuff, and rearrange the clips, according to your range. That's when I actually started even more listening harder into characters' voices to realize that yeah, that's definitely this person. Like example, when I was playing Disgaea 5 before we started this Q&A, there was a flashback scene in the chapter where the main character was talking to one of the other characters, and right off the bat, I knew it was Stephanie Shea because I recognized the same range of voice that she used in Neptunia for the Histoire character. So
Right.
I didn't have to think of that. I'm like, bang, Stephanie Shea, I know it. It's her.
Nice.
I didn't have to think about it. You definitely taught me, to listen harder, and
Oh,
I
cool.
appreciate that. Because now I don't question myself as much as to who, a certain voice artist is, unless I don't recognize them like at all, like they're newer. Because
Right.
recently there have been a lot more newer voice artists for anime and whatnot. Like I'll read a dub cast and I'll see a lot of names I don't recognize completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, the next question comes from Ninja Star Sunday. I think that'd be a dangerous ice cream to eat. But anyways, as someone who does dubs, how do you feel about the whole snobby about subs? Pretty much the whole dub versus sub debate.
Well,
What do you think about it?
I don't have an opinion one way or the other unless I happen to be a part of a stellar cast on an amazing dub, in which I think you guys are crazy. But there are a lot of people out there who are not great at dubbing, who are not trained actors, who I feel don't justify the characters very well, and there are a lot of different companies that don't put in the heart because they don't have the budget to create a really stellar anime. And then there are companies that go above and beyond and have phenomenal talent. It's a mixed bag. So I understand why some people prefer the subs, because it really is a crapshoot what you're going to get dub-wise. You don't know if it's going to be good or if it's going to be crap. You really don't know. And it could be half and half. Half of it could be stellar and half of it could be the worst ever. So, and you guys will never know from your end exactly how bad it is. The directors and the engineers get it the worst because they're the ones that have to cobble together a performance from somebody who is not very good at their job, and they spend way too many hours in the booth having to record, and the director and the engineer have to piece it all together and make it sound the best they can in the final performance. So I can't blame them. I can't blame people who prefer subs. If they want to keep it directly to that. I do have, there's some amazing script adapters out there that do, in my opinion, that I'm not a fan of keeping it authentic to the original. I like localization for a reason. I like it when a script is adapted in such a way that it makes it feel like it was made over here. I love, one of my favorite animes is Samurai Champloo. I think they killed that in the localization. I love any localization that really makes it its own kind of piece of art for the country it's been localized for. So I'm a fan because I do feel the performances are better because you don't have to fit really awkward direct translation dialogue.
I can cut that out. Don't worry. I'll cut that out. For the
awkward and choppy, wordy direct translation dialogue that doesn't fit the lip flaps. It's much better when you've got, there's so many incredibly talented script adapters who are well underpaid for the quality that they put out. But there's some really, really bad script adapters out there too. And then there's companies that are really cheap and they want to pay even less than the standard. And so they get really cheap performers who have no training, who just want to be in anime, and they have never studied and they've never taken an acting class and they've never performed in front of an audience. And I think that performance is really it's outshone by the people who have done all the training. Like when you put somebody who has studied for hours and hours and hours and put in the work to study acting and the craft of acting and what does acting mean and all of that, I think that actor really shines in their performance next to somebody who doesn't have that experience.
Right.
And you probably have your own, your own favorites in your own ears. When you listen to a dub, you can hear the people that do the exact same thing all the time with no depth, and the people that give you something that speaks to your soul that's a little bit different, that sticks with you for years and years later.
I mean, I see it all the time with the dub versus sub debate. People just like trash the dubs because they prefer subs, and they'll call the voice actors atrocious. They're pretty much bastardizing. They say that dub voice actors pretty much bastardize the original adaptation, and it's not done.
And that's funny because they think it's us when it has nothing to do with us.
Right,
that has to do with the writers. We're just given what we're, told to say. So it's not us. They're talking about the localization team, which right there, that if somebody's bitching about the actors as the reason, then they don't even know what they're talking about.
Right.
So people who don't know what they're talking about are a dime a dozen on the internet, and they have a lot of opinions about things that they don't even know what they're talking about. And that's okay because that's the freedom of the internet. But there's definitely no need to respond to anybody like that. If somebody's giving a legitimate, there are people who are purists, and that's a real perspective and a real, that's a completely different opinion. But they would probably know it was the localization and not the dub actors. So, and there are some dub actors that are really bad and some that are really good. So it's totally up to, an individual to decide what flavor they prefer, and if you don't like it, change the channel. That's my opinion, because there are shows that I don't like, that I can't watch because it's not my flavor. But do I condemn the entire genre because it's not my flavor? No, that would be crazy, especially something that's got a huge following and lots of fans. Why would I want to piss off a whole group of fans because they happen to have a flavor that is different from mine? That's like me getting mad at people who like chocolate just because I love vanilla and saying, you people who like chocolate are ridiculous and stupid because vanilla is the best. How dare you like chocolate? That's absurd.
I see it all the time. And personally,
Yeah.
I enjoy dubs. I mean, I know there are some bad dubs, like in the 90s, dubs were nowhere near the quality of what they are now. Quite honestly, I think Viz Media's dub of Sailor Moon completely trumps the original. Um, for the most part, I just wish they, like, if they could have, like, remastered the visuals instead of just leaving them the same. Um, but there are some, voice actors who I don't consider, not saying that they're bad, but the voices for a certain character, sometimes I just can't stand them.
And we're not going to name anybody
Right,
because that's a
definitely not.
personal
Definitely not.
preference thing. Because somebody that we don't like might be somebody else's favorite voice actor. So we just let it be.
Right. So the next question comes again from Tiamat ZX. Uh, he says he's playing off of Ninja Star Sunday's question. He says, your thoughts on dub versus sub? We pretty much just talked about that.
Yeah, we just did. Yeah.
The next question is PK from PK something. Are there certain characters you have trouble voicing?
Okay, I'm going to readdress. This is a question that was kind of asked earlier, but the characters that I have trouble being, and I don't say voicing, I say characters that I have a hard time capturing, are usually discovered for me in the audition process. So if there's a character I'm trying to read for and I just don't feel I'm catching it, I don't submit that audition. I just write it off as, nope, not for me. This isn't the right part for me. I can't capture it. I'm not feeling this character. And for me, like 90% of my auditions, I'm at home by myself. I don't have a director in the booth. So if I had somebody else here to direct me, I might be able to discover it with that other person with their insightful suggestions and their guidance. But on my own, if I'm stuck, I'm stuck. And I just won't bother submitting. So I'm never faced with that problem in a professional once I get to the job.
Before I continue, I just want to ask you, Sean is still sending me questions from you guys in the chat. You can put a cap on that anytime you want. I don't know how.
I'm going to I have a hard out for me at 4 p.m. LA time, so I could probably go for another 30 minutes, okay. But then I have to go and get ready.
Right. All right. So, well, as of right now, I have 4 more questions on the board, and then there is, one major question I wanted to ask you at the end, and then do, the whole plug thing, and then pretty much the outro saying goodbye, thank you again, and everything.
Okie dokie.
So the next question comes from Joey Jojo Wacky Trip. That's a mouthful. I have a question. Any plans on doing a convention on the East Coast? I know you do Dragon Con in Atlanta, I believe it is. It's in Georgia. So that is on the East Coast, to answer this person's question.
Well, I go to any convention that I'm invited to, really. It's just that I don't get invited to a lot of conventions. The way to get me invited to a convention is to email your local convention and request me. My website has all the information on how to get a hold of me and my booking agent for conventions. The next convention I'm going to is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, TayuCon. So right. I think I'm going to be in... I don't know if I can announce that yet. That may not have been announced. So maybe I'm going to keep quiet on that. But I'm going in at least middle of America by July next year. But yeah, definitely put it out there to your local conventions. Let them know. They don't know who I am if you guys don't tell them who I am.
To finish up his statement, he says, He has previously met Wendy Lee and Melissa Fon. He said they were the best, and he says he'd love to meet you too.
I would love to meet all of you. I really enjoy meeting everybody. That's one of my favorite parts of it's like it's a great side bonus to this job.
The next question comes from Big Bear 538. He or she asks, how much different is it being in the booth with other voice artists or recording alone?
It's a huge difference. If you're a trained actor and have been studying acting for any long period of time, the experience for me as one of those humans is that acting is never acting, it's always reacting. So when you're in the booth with other people, you get to react off of what they're giving you, which is so much easier than having to react off of nothing, which is what happens in video games. You don't get the line before you don't know what's going on. In some cases, a good really a budgeted, not good, but any game that has any sort of budget, the director will be able to lead you in before your lines so that you can have something to react off of. That's when you're going to get your best acting and your best performance. When you're just hitting line after line after line after line, you're not reacting. You're just delivering lines. At least that's what it feels like for me. And I much prefer feeling like I'm acting than feeling like I'm just delivering lines.
So the second to last question is from Hyper Izumi. He or she says, how do you feel about fans relating to your characters? Your work has honestly changed my life in a good way.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. I'm always excited if a character that I've played somebody knows about. Like, I'm always blown away. I'm like, oh, you recognize that character, you spend some time with that character, and you like that character. That's a big deal to me, because I don't know when I like, for example, League of Legends. That was nobody knew what League of Legends was when we started and we recorded it. I had no idea where it was going to go. But to have people come up to me and say that they spend all of their hours online with my characters. Like, they have a lot of characters to choose from, and even more now, with that game. So that anybody would pick the characters that I get to play is amazing to me, and it means a lot to me. It's a big deal to me. So it's probably, yeah, it changes me a little bit every time that happens.
The last question, at least for now, I guess after this question, we'll see if anyone has any last words, any last questions. We got about 25 more minutes. The last question here comes from Midna Z2. Asks, what was it like voicing Kuro Kuma? And he doesn't say, what it's from.
I couldn't believe that they actually booked me in that role. I remember I auditioned for it. I was so shocked that they sent that audition to me too. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I really enjoyed playing Kurokuma. He was a badass pimp, like, he was such a jerk face. Again, I really like playing jerk faces. Really, really big dinks. Totally love him. And he was like a really big jerk face. Loved playing him. He was awesome.
So that was all of the questions. If anybody has anything else they want to ask before we close this session out, now's your chance. This could be your one and only chance to pretty much talk to who I consider future Hall of Fame voice artist, if there's ever even a such thing.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joe.
So if there's anything else, so far I don't see anything coming up, but it could be just lagging on my end. So I want to give it a minute.
We'll take a moment. Thank you guys for the questions. Those were really great questions. And I will be releasing an ebook on voice acting Soon, probably by Christmas, if I can get all the illustrations done in time. Yeah, it'll be a pretty comprehensive resource guide for anybody who's interested in that.
Yeah, I was actually just about to get to that.
Oh, great.
We got a little bit of role playing going on here. I love it. I love it. Any tips for voice actors? I'm actually going to get to that right now. So if Erin wouldn't mind, I'd actually take this one. Um, she has an ebook coming out. She's pretty much been asked to like can you put a good word in for me? I could do a funny voice and this and that and the other thing. So she decided to write an ebook for tips and whatnot about being a voice artist. If you're interested in the industry and getting into the industry, she believes that her ebook can help you out. In some instances, I believe the title, if it's finalized, last I heard, it was going to be called 10 things. What was it? 10 things. I would tell you.
I think it's 10 things any voice actor would tell you if they were me.
Yes, I was a little tongue tied. It was something like that. I couldn't remember how you worded it. It got me tongue tied though. So if you're interested in that, it's not free, of course. So once it's released, I'll be letting everybody know about it. If you're interested, just look forward to it. I'm sure she'll be posting it on her fan page. It'll be available on her website, erinfitzvo.com. Her fan page, I believe. I'm just gonna look it up real quick because I don't want to get it wrong in front of you. That would be super embarrassing. Facebook.com/Erin Fitz fan page, which that's what I thought it was. I just wasn't too sure. And I don't remember your Twitter link, so if you want to plug that in yourself, you can. So if you're interested in getting into the business, sounds like it's something you should really check out. Sean, if you're still listening, Assassin X, that goes for you too. Mister, I just got a job doing doing voice acting apparently. Uh, he was telling us in our network chat that he did an audition for something and it's a paying role according to him. So
That's great.
he's starting to feel important now, and he's only 19. So
Awesome.
so hopefully things take off for him. And he says you're one of his heroes. So
Oh, that's really flattering. Thank you so much.
um, trying to think anymore. I don't see any more questions here.
I see a couple. I don't know who the most evil character I've played. I think Genocide Jack might be the most evil, but I'm not sure completely. And I don't know the other characters in Conception 2. I only played my character. I didn't get to see any of the other characters or any of the other lines during the record, so I don't know the rest of the cast.
There should be a voice acting Hall of Fame. I agree. So yeah, if you're interested in the business of voiceover and being a voice artist, definitely check her ebook out. I'll be promoting it. She'll be promoting it. Hopefully, it helps you guys in the future and whatnot. Now, I just had a couple of questions myself to close this out.
Sure.
We were talking in our network chat the other day, and we were debating over whether you like do you and I guess most other voice actors prefer. Do you prefer being called a voice actor or voice artist, or you just prefer voiceover the most?
I don't care. I find all of those misleading. I'm really just an actor, but I've detached myself from voice actor, voice artist, voiceover, all of those things. You can call me whatever you need to call me for other people to understand who I am and what I do. But to me, I've always just been an actor.
Right. Yeah, because I remember you used to have voice artist in your page name, and this year at some point you dropped it.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah.
And I figure, well, maybe she just wants the page to feel a little more personalized
Yeah, I did.
and such. So, and my second and last question is: a few months ago, I remember you mentioned wanting to do a podcast. I don't remember the specifics of it. But I was
Oh
wondering.
yeah, I did. What was funny, the same week that I discussed, like I thought I was thinking about doing a podcast where I interviewed artists because one of my fascination is artists, fan artists, comic book artists. I get to work with a lot of amazing artists, but we never get to see each other because we work on completely different opposite sides of a project. So I thought maybe if I started a podcast, I could do that. And oddly enough, in the same week, a friend of mine who was producing a show called Warriors of Wonder approached me, and he was looking for a host to interview comic book artists. And I thought, oh my gosh, that feels like divine right action. So we just started. I think if you go to wow1tv.com, WOW1TV.com, we have a few of the segments up. They're not very long segments. They're like 2 to 5 minutes. But I've gotten to interview like the one of the guys who was the writer for Neptunia, Nick Doer. He's branched off and is working on his own game, Undead Darlings, and I got to interview him for a period of time. There's another great artist, manga artist named James Perry II, who created a manga called Orange Crows. He's got 2 volumes out now. I interviewed him. I don't think that one's up yet. I got to interview a ton of comic book artists at Kamikaze this weekend, and a few other artists like Flex Alexander and his comic book. So I'm getting more into as a side project into this Warriors of Wonder project, and I think my segment's called Fitz in Comics, but Fitz being FITZ. Yeah, so if you're interested in that too, feel free to check it out and help us get started. It's a definitely an indie project that we're looking to build an audience with anybody who's interested in comics and also anime because I'm trying to get manga artists as well.
Right. Now to finish off my question, leading, about podcasts, I was wondering if by any chance you would ever be interested in doing a podcast with the former Hall of Fame wrestler, now podcaster, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh
He
my gosh, he
he
has a
does.
podcast? I had no idea.
I love his show. He does 2 shows a week. Well, on Tuesdays he does a family friendly show where he doesn't, use his favorite 4 letter words and whatnot.
Well, he is stone cold.
And Thursdays he does what he calls Unleashed, and that's where he just lets it all fly. So I was wondering if
Wow.
you would ever be up to doing a podcast with him where you guys could pretty much interview each other, I guess, at the same time.
Oh
And
my
because
God, that would be
he's
insane.
had other people, outside of wrestling on his show plenty of times. Like he's already done a podcast with a guy who's a part-time stand-up comic, and he's also had a role in the Cars movie. Um, and he's interviewed sports players and stuff like that. So he doesn't just stick to wrestlers. And quite honestly, I think, speaking for myself, that is my favorite one-time wrestler, and now my favorite podcaster, and my favorite voice actor, teaming up together to do what he calls opening up a can of audio whoop ass. I think that'd be amazing. He actually lives in L.A. He does Skype. He does Skype podcasts, kind of like what we're doing now. He will do that. Sometimes, he'll prefer to do them live and in person, but he does do his podcast usually um, out of his home in L.A. And he's in the Marina Del Rey area. I don't know how
Okay.
far that is from you, but I was wondering if you would ever consider doing a podcast with him.
Oh yeah, I totally would. That sounds like fun.
I mean, I wish I knew a better way to contact him other than sending, I guess, something to him at his email that he checks all the time. It's questions at steveaustenshow.com. Um, that's what he uses. I could actually look it up to make sure I'm actually correct. Um,
That
yeah, I mean, if you can contact him and actually get a podcast, I would love to hear it.
would be funny.
I would love to hear it. So that was the thing I've been wanting to ask you forever because, like I said, I think 2 of my favorite people teaming up to create something on the internet would just be amazing. Yeah, it's questions at steveaustenshow.com. So I was correct about that. Um, he also has a Twitter. If you want to try to contact him that way, it's Steve Austin DSR on Twitter, which he also checks all the time and will sometimes answer. But that's that. Sean wants me to pass one more message to you before we um, close this out. He says he just wants to let you know that as an aspiring voice actor, he really appreciates you doing this, and he can speak, or he is speaking for all of the fans that really love your work.
Wow, thank you so much, Sean. Thanks, guys. This
Um,
has been super fun.
I really appreciate it again. Like I said, I never want to ask too much of you for anything. Um, I wasn't sure. I was kind of nervous at first to ask you because I figured, I'm a small guy on YouTube. I'm like a little fish in a giant ocean. I'm nowhere near as popular as I know you were on Geek and Sundry already with their extra life stream last month, and I'm nowhere near as them. And right now, Rooster Teeth is broadcasting, and a few other guys I follow on YouTube are broadcasting alongside me, but for their own shows. And I figured I know there's gonna be a lot more people watching them, so I was kind of nervous, to ask you in the first place because I'm so
Well, I'm glad you
small and
did
they're
because
so big.
everybody needs to build it. I mean, even with Warriors of Wonder, we have a very small audience right now. So you start small and then you build up big. That's just a matter of time. That's just sticking with it and keeping going and doing it year after year.
So basically, to close this out, thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate you pretty much giving me some headway here, helping me grow a little. Uh, Thanking everybody who's been sharing and promoting the post about you coming on to the stream. And this may sound a little weird, but if you could get a little personal thank you to your mother for me for even sharing this, I would appreciate it that as well. I noticed that she shared the last post we made
I
late at night.
totally will. I will
So
totally thank my mother for you.
I,
She
I would
loves.
appreciate. I just want my appreciation to reach everybody that's helped out. So even the smallest bit helps. Um, so check out the ebook. Um, that's coming out around Christmas time. I'll be letting you guys all know when it comes out. She'll also be letting you guys know when it comes out.
I promise it'll be affordable.
Um, just to close things out, I have to give credit to where my mascot character comes from, so I have to mention that real quick. We have our network, Flat Soccer Entertainment, has a new series coming out. It's a web comic, 4-panel web comic that's supposed to drop twice a week. It's gonna release next year. My character is named Masahiro, and my character will play the Tsundere personality. Towards the main character, Yusuke, who I pretty much I pretty much like crap on him all the time. In the Tsundere style for some of the stupid things he does and says every once in a while. And he pretty much wants to adapt portions of his life into this webcomic. It's called Oni-chan no Baka, which in English translates to "My brother is an idiot." So it's something to look forward to. I've even wrote one of the scenes, two of the scenes for it actually. That's hopefully going to debut on Halloween next year, since Halloween's passed already this year. I hope that scene that I wrote gets used. That's where my character comes from. It's my mascot for my YouTube channel. I gotta mention. I had to give credit to what it belongs to because I don't own it. I'm just borrowing it pretty much. And our network has two light novels currently published by our founder and author Yukino Kanashi. Um, it's entitled "When Promises End." He's got two volumes of it right now, published and available to the public. So if you want to search that, and if anyone's interested in it, we greatly appreciate your interest and feedback. Um, with all that said, thank you again, Miss Erin. I can't thank you enough.
Oh, no
Um,
problem. I
I
also want to thank Sakura Anime Radio for their awesome tunes. Before I came on, they were amazing. That what a great radio station.
Yeah, he's been doing it for 3.5 years independently, and I've known him pretty much the entire time. That's Josh, by the way, Josh O'Neill.
Oh,
You probably
it's so good, Josh.
yeah you I'm sure you've seen his name floating around before,
Yeah,
and
oh, definitely.
yeah, and he was the one I referred you to about getting some feedback for your website when you were redesigning it and whatnot.
Oh,
Because
great.
yeah, he's the one with a degree in network security and whatnot. So I figured if anyone could have some valuable input, it would be him.
Awesome.
Um,
Well, thank you guys so much. It was fun answering your questions. Thanks for showing up and asking questions. It wouldn't have worked if you guys weren't
Definitely
there.
not. And let me tell you, as many times as I was using the hashtag and as many replies I wasn't getting, I was getting really nervous and I was really losing some of the motivation I had to do this live stream today because I didn't want you to think that wow, this guy is a dork, like, and I just look embarrassed,
Oh,
like an
well, it was
embarrassment
very
in front of you.
successful. I think it went really well.
So I'm glad it went over in the end, at least this portion of it anyway. I have raised a bit of money today, so I still
And keep
have.
donating, guys. It goes to a great cause.
I'm going until 4 in the morning, you guys. I got a long way to go.
Woo!
I got 9 hours to go. I'm attempting to break a world record tonight.
You can
Um,
do it. You
I, I,
can
ho-
do
I hope it would be super amazing if I could do it. I'm gonna play the original Sonic the Hedgehog game back from 1991,
it.
and I'm gonna
Nice.
try to break the record, the highest score Guinness World Record, which was set in 2011. The high score being 812,140 points.
Wow.
So I'm attempting to break that record tonight.
Woo!
Currently, I have that attempt slated for 11 p.m. So if anyone is around at that time or whatever, come back, and that's something you won't want to miss. Even you too, Miss Erin, if you're around, maybe that's something you wouldn't want to miss.
Awesome. I'm
But
gonna go see a show tonight in Long Beach. So maybe when I get back, I'll see how far how you're doing.
I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to break the record, but I really hope I do.
I hope you
Um,
do too.
and then I'm going to eat now. Actually, I'm going to order my dinner. And then after I eat, me and Assassin X here, we're gonna put our rivalry uh, to the test. I guess you could say. Like our rivalry is going to come to a head. He's challenged me to a best 4 out of 7 series in Super Smash Bros. Tonight. He's challenged me for 2 months. He's been egging me on to battle him, and I just been pushing him off because I thought that would be something to show to the world and whatnot. And I hope it's going to be a good fight. Hopefully, one of us doesn't embarrass the other with a 4 game sweep. So we're gonna do that. So that's something to look forward to. We're dubbing it the Black Sakura Showdown because we're both in the network together. He's been helping out with the stream today. I really appreciate it.
That's
But
awesome.
as much appreciation as I have for him today, I still have to kick his sorry butt in the game tonight. No breaks for you, Sean. I'm sorry. But thanks again. I hope whatever you have to do now is successful. I hope you enjoy the show later on tonight, and we'll get back to you later this week on that JRPG demo that I'm
Awesome.
going to finish.
Thanks so much for your help with that too, Joe. Really appreciate it.
Starting tomorrow, I'm going to really crack down and get it finished. I know I put it on the shelf for pretty much most
It's
of.
it's an overwhelming project for sure.
Well, mainly I put it on the shelf because of the stream, and I've been practicing and practicing. I've been doing, streams at least once or twice a week for the
Oh,
past four
good. Well,
weeks.
then you're gonna break this record, no problem.
I've been practicing it, and I wanted to make sure everything was good. And even last night, I stayed up until about 5 o'clock this morning, making sure everything was good and all of my programs worked perfectly. I'm not going to have any faults later on, this Q&A session would be viewable and successful, without too many audio quirks, aside from the
Success!
internet.
Achievement unlocked!
So, I put a lot of work into this, and thankfully it's paying off. I couldn't ask for a group of better guys to work with, and, I guess work under me. I couldn't ask for a better friend in you for doing so much for me, especially for this and my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it, and I could thank you 1,000 times, and I still think that wouldn't be enough.
Well, here's one big you're welcome to cover all of them.
Well, I'll talk to you later this week
Awesome.
about the demo.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.
Before I close this out for good, you can go on Erin's website and you can find the official demo I made for her this year, the video game voiceover 2015 demo. It's on her website. It's on her YouTube channel. If you want to find it that way, definitely do that. If you're interested in some of the other characters we didn't cover that she voices. I had fun making it, and I'm going to have fun finishing this other demo. So definitely look into that. And
yeah, if you're wondering why there's not a lot of JRPGs on the video game demo, that's because we're saving one demo specifically for the JRPGs.
There are so many JRPGs.
They really are.
With that said, Miss Erin, I hope you have a good night and enjoy the show. And with that said, I am the Rose, and thank you guys for watching. I'll be back in a little bit with some more music. Have a good evening, and I'll catch you later.